My first upgrade for the Mac Pro 2013 is 64 gigabytes of Ecc Ram from OWC Otherworld Computing's website. It was $149.99, and I think it's going to be well worth it. I am upgrading from the 32 gigabytes that came with my Mac Pro. One of the most fun things to do with this Mac Pro is to open it up by switching the latch over and pulling straight up on the outer shell. It might take a few tries to get it open, but eventually it'll pop off. Once the top is popped off, you'll see two sides with 2 sticks of RAMs in each nodule port. What you want to do is gently pull this switch up. The RAM will pop open like this, and you have to gently pull each RAM stick out of its port. And out pops the Sky Hynix RAM. Now, I have seen some complaints about the OWC RAM, and as you could tell, the Apple RAM that's inside of this is black, and the OWC RAM is green. And there were literally people complaining about the color. RAM that you will not see unless you have the outer shell off. How stupid and petty can people be? I got the Mac all loaded up, which is a pretty good sign for whether or not this RAM works. Now, if you are new to Mac, you will find your RAM on the Apple on the top left, and then click About This Mac. Awesome! It shows memory, which is your RAM, at 64 gigabytes, 1866 millihertz, DDR3. Some people will crack up at the DDR3, but guess what? I have not had one issue with this Mac at all with DDR3 RAM for video editing, for 3D modeling on Cinema 4D and After Effects, and for just importing and exporting models on After Effects and Blender as well. And I do have a 10-core CPU coming soon that I will be upgrading the processor with to make this one of the most ultimate Mac Pro 2013s that you can make. It's always important to test out your RAM to make sure it does what it's supposed to do. As you can tell, I have OBS open because I'm recording with it right now here. I've also got the App Store open and downloading updates. I've also got Disk Utility open, iMovie is open, Final Cut Pro is open, Adobe After Effects is open, Photoshop is open, Premiere Pro is open, and the Finder is open. And I've got a multi-track project in Premiere Pro open right now. What I want to see is my RAM usage currently and my CPU usage currently to test out the RAM and activity monitor. It looks like CPU is at this 10%, users 36%, at idle it's 51% with all these open, threads and processes, boom, right there. Let's go to the memory, and as you can see, memory right now with them all open is at around 12 to round it up 13 as well if it goes over the 50 mark. 13 gigabytes out of 64. Wired memory is at 4, and app memory is at 8.42. Physical memory is 64 gigabytes, so it is showing up on Activity Monitor as well, which is absolutely incredible. Now, I'm not going to show the whole export. I just want to see how much the memory increases when I export a 1080p 60 frames per second video at 30 megabytes per second, which is what my camera that filmed this video shot at. So 30, and not intro. We will move this actually to that folder. And so that I don't fry my computer while, oh wow, it's already at 1%. I will be upping this to the max so you might actually hear it, but I don't want to fry my computer. So now we're at 3% and not even 15 seconds has gone by. 4%. And then bringing up the activity monitor, going to memory. It says currently it did go up a bit, but still we're not even tapping into the 64. It is at 18.94, so around 19 gigabytes is being used, with all these programs open. Some people are probably going to say, have Safari open. Okay, I'll give you that. Now Safari is open, and now it went up to 19.61, which again, like, you can have all this open and no stutter and no lag, and I am noticing faster exports. So what I will do is quit Photoshop, quit After Effects, quit Final Cut Pro, quit iMovie, quit Disk Utility, quit Blackmagic Cinema, and then quit the update on the App Store. And as you can see, the memory went down by 4 gigabytes. Looks like After Effects does not want to close. And there we go. And it's still around 14, but that's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. This RAM has made this machine so much better. I went from 32, and once it got to around 19 to 20 gigabytes, you know, some kind of slowdown a little bit. And the fact that this hasn't slowed down at all with all of that open, absolutely incredible. Definitely worth it. And if you have OWC or Apple RAM, OWC.com, otherworldcomputing.com, will allow you to trade in your RAM for a rebate. And with 32 gigabytes of RAM, they are giving $40 rebates. So the $150 to $160 I spent on this, I'll be getting a $40 rebate. I'll have only spent $110 or $120 as soon as they get it, verify it, and then send me the check. So I basically got this for $110, $120 depending on how much they give me back. And I think it's incredible to go from 32 gigabytes to 64 gigabytes and keep the speed. And as you can tell, we're 29% into the video exporting, and I haven't had any crashes, haven't had anything go wrong. The RAM hasn't stopped working. Perfect. Definitely get it, because you want the 64 gigabyte for the Mac Pro 2013. Some people say, well, you can get 96, you can get 128, I believe. Yeah, but you take a massive performance hit. It goes down to, I think it's 1066 speed instead of 1866, and you will notice a huge slowdown. But yeah, definitely get this RAM if you can. When it came to the CPU upgrade, I actually went on to an inaudible discussion page called the Definitive Trashcan Mac Pro 6.1 Upgrade Guide. And for about a year, I debated on whether I wanted to get the 12-core 2.7 GHz CPU, or if I wanted to get the 8-core or the 10-core. Ultimately, I decided on the 10-core 3.0 GHz 1866 RAM speed at 130 watts. And I did this after watching extensive videos and also online articles about the differences between the 8 to the 12 core CPUs for these machines, and 10 was the nice in between that wouldn't affect my performance too much. OWC, where I got the RAM from, wanted $299 for the CPU used. So I hopped onto eBay and got it for around $48, which is a way better deal, and it saved me a ton of cash. The seller was so nice, he even threw in free 2-day shipping via FedEx for free. The CPU appears to be legitimate and clean looking. I hope it works. Taking apart this machine is an absolute nightmare. It took me 5.5 hours, but luckily OWC has a 12-minute video on how to do this properly. I got the CPU already put in, I got the RAM reseated, and we got the Apple symbol. Going to About This Mac, and yes, About This Mac shows 3 GHz 10-core Intel Xeon E5, 64 gigabytes of 1866 MHz DDR3 RAM, and obviously the rest of it. So I am very impressed that I got this on the first go. As you could tell, when I was trying to make it, take everything apart, when I was trying to put everything back together, I got really frustrated because things were falling, my fingers, it was slipping. I was worried about cutting the machine and getting little dents and white pieces on the black metal. So was the CPU upgrade worth it? Well, if you're starting with a 4 and 6 core CPU on your Mac Pro 2013, yes, this is absolutely worth it. In fact, I even edited this multi-layer video with this CPU, and it exported even faster than it did when I had my 6 core CPU plugged in. The third and final upgrade for the Mac Pro 2013 that we are going to be looking at is one that has not had a YouTube review yet. It is the Angel Shark Internal M.2 PCIe SSD expansion carrier board. This allows you to retain your original Mac NVMe and 2 modern additional NVMe's. The only thing is, their speeds are capped at around 1500 Mbps. It costs $495, but I figured since I already upgraded everything else, I should get this upgrade as well. Inside the box, you'll see screws that you'll need and the tools provided to get the job done, including a heatsink and the board that holds the NVMe slots. Do I think the product is way overpriced? Absolutely. But as long as it goes without a hitch and everything works, I'll be happy. I do think they should lower the price because I don't believe they sold very many of these. 1, because of the price, and 2, because I never saw this advertised anywhere other than on Inaudible Discussion's website. It took around 27 minutes to install, and at the very end of the video I will be providing the step-by-step guide from the AnvilTech website. The 2 NVMe's I used were brand new WD Blue 500 GBs. Here is how it looks with everything installed. Okay, interesting, it turns on, but will it boot up to Mac OS Mojave? Oh wow, it's playing the original version of that song now. Okay. Computer screen turned on. Apple logo, awesome. It's loading something. Now I know for a fact that I will have to format the NVMe drives if this does work, because it might be taking me to the... Oh wow, okay. So it detects the oh, yep. The disk you inserted was not readable by the computer. The disk you inserted was not readable by the computer. That's both the NVMe's, the WD ones. So as we can see that both drives are detected, and you can either ignore it or eject, which you don't want to do. You want to initialize, I believe. It should bring up, yep, disk utility. Now, I do not want to delete the Macintosh HD, which is the first thing that shows up. Big mistake if you do. Just saying. Very big mistake. What you want to do is find the WD drives, and you should be able to go to erase. And I'll put this as, I'm trying to think. I need to find out what the name of that's called. Monterey. I'm going to spell it wrong. Monterey 500 GB WD. Because I'm going to put Mac Monterey on here. So I'm going to go with that, and hopefully that's the right way to do it. And then it'll wipe your drive for you and then make it seeable by your Mac so it doesn't show up as ignore or whatever anymore. And then this one, for now, I'm going to do it as exFAT so I can have any file size or whatever put on it. And I also believe that this is supposed to be GUID. And I'll use it for video editing for now. I just want to prove that this thing actually works. And if all went according to plan, these should now show. Yep, there's one. My Sierra NVMe, my ONN, and my Monterey, which I spelled wrong, NVMe, can open it up. No longer gives the air to eject anymore. No longer gives the air to eject anymore. So far, both of them open. And then let me also see if I can't find Macintosh HD. And here's the one that my Mac is on. So all three of these are working in that three-way adapter, which is absolutely incredible. Now, the next thing that I know people are very, very addicted to is the Blackmagic disk speed test. Opens up perfectly fine. And we will test the speeds, the Monterey and the other WD. So let us check this. But wow, so there's 8K. Oh, wow. And I know it's the same drive, but different drives have different speeds. Keep note of this: 1322 and 1471. $13.72, so 1333 and 1470. So I'm getting a little bit slower, but not that much. Really, it's not that much. Like that, those are really good speeds. I am extremely happy with this product. I just am not happy with the price they're charging. I think it would be better if it was priced around $200 to $300, but $500 is a little extreme. As you can see right now, I've got a project. It has got 3 layers. One is a text layer, the other's a PNG, the other's a background with slight color corrections, and I've got 2 audio layers with little splices in between, and then a blank layer right here. And it is Premiere Pro, and I want to prove to you that I do still have the upgrades in. I've got the 3 GHz 10-core Intel Xeon E5 V2, the 64 gigabytes from OWC, and the NVMEs are also still here as well. One's for my Time Machine backup, and one is for my cache files and exports. So I do have the Angel still plugged in, and we will be testing out the exporting of the video. And I probably will not show the entire export just until it gives a rough estimate of how long it'll take to give you an example of whether or not these upgrades are worth it. And I will be doing this at, let's see, 12, because I don't want to generate too much heat on the Mac Pro and ruin everything inside of it. And let me get this set up to the cache NVMe drive. There we go. And it is at 1080p. Now that's just the audio previews and the video preview caches. Keep in mind, OBS Studio is probably going to slow this down a bit because it is using 6% of the CPU. Now, here we go. This video is 8 minutes and 30 seconds, and whoa, exporting it straight to the NVMe is getting it around the 3-minute mark. And that's while the NVMe is being used as the cache for Premiere Pro as well. So, as you can tell, this is really, really fast. Now, on video, for an 8-minute and 30-second video, it would probably be double this because video is harder than just pictures and text with a little bit of music and narration. So, I would say it definitely is faster than it was when I had my ONN and my SSD connected and did exports through those. This is about a minute faster